Welcome back, graphic designers. True or false? Professional-looking, eye-catching designs on products in stores have a better chance of being picked up and purchased. Of course, the answer is false. That's a no-brainer. What do you mean? The answer is true? Get out of here. Welcome back, everybody. This is Layout Design Bootcamp episode number 2, where every week I design a new layout and I take you from concept to completion on the entire piece. Now, these layouts are based on logos I designed in Logo Design Bootcamp, my other series. So for this week, episode number 2, based on the letter B, if you recall, I have designed a logo for Barreller's Beer Company. And this logo, it needs somewhere to go. So I decided to do a couple of things print-wise with this logo. Now, when it comes to me, I'm not a huge drinker in general, but you know, I'll have a beer every once in a while, and personally, they all taste the same to me. So when I go shopping for beer, I look for something that's has a really cool packaging or really cool label on the bottle. That's what stands out to me, and it kind of brings me into this other dimension of, oh, this beer is some mystical beer, and you know, I take it home and it still tastes like crap like everything else. So this beer is Barreller's Beer. This is my label I've created for this, and this is the coaster that this beer is going to go on. So let me jump into critiquing this, how to really set this up and concepts behind this stuff, and then I'll show you how to build this entire thing. Now, the most important part of this tutorial is obviously following along. So I have provided the files for you to download by clicking right here. It'll bring you to my website for you to download the files and follow along. So let's do it. Okay, so right now we're going to start at the top with the label. Now, this label is 7.5 inches in width by 2 3/8 inches in height. Now, that's very important because when you do your measurements, you want to make sure that when you're looking straight at the bottle that you can see the entire logo, that none of it's hanging off the side or starting to wrap around. That's what I did by doing these measurements, and I did a little bit of a funky type of a shape right here, but when it wraps around the bottle, it looks really nice. Down here, the coaster is a 4x4. Standard coaster, meaning that when you put a bottle on the middle of it, you're going to be able to see the rest of the coaster, which is important. Now, what you're going to learn in this tutorial is a lot of things. There are actually so many things you're going to learn in this tutorial. Starting off with the image in the background and doing transparencies on top of it to show that there's a brown area up here, but then it turns to black bricks down here. I'm going to show you how to work with layers. I'm going to show you how to work with clipping masks. I'm also going to show you how, if you see this bar right here, it has kind of a grungy edge. It's a brush stroke technique. And also I did what's called a gradient warp to actually warp this entire piece after I had it set already. Coming down here, I'm going to show you how to create this effect in Photoshop with this bottle. I'm going to show you how to bring it back into Illustrator and do a clipping mask on it to make sure it stays within the entire piece. I'm going to show you how to do what's basically creating more three-dimensionality in this piece, or creating layers in a way, because if you see this, it's breaking up the bottle from the background. It's making the bottle pop, and making it look more three-dimensional, kind of like how the logo pops off with that slight shadow behind it. I'm also going to show you how to line up certain things. If I take a guide right here, everything lines up nicey nice right down the right. And that's really it. So let's jump into Adobe Illustrator CS6 and start building this thing. All right, so after you download this file, you want to extract the folder that's called Images. And you're going to see there are 2 images in this folder. The one is called Bricks, and the other is a picture of a bottle I took with my iPhone. Now, the Bricks is a free image. The image that I'm using is an image that I purchased, so it's a little bit different set of bricks, but you're still going to get the same effect by using what you have in here. What you want to first do is you want to open up Photoshop, and you want to take this beer bottle and you want to pull it in here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Image Mode, CMYK Color, come over here to your layers, double click and hit OK. So now it's an actual, well, it's still, I believe, a smart object. Next thing you're going to do is take a marquee around the bottle and go to Image Crop. Now let's zoom in. Come into your pen tool with the letter P, and we're going to start drawing a selection around this bottle, and ultimately we're going to cut out the background, basically. So let's speed this up a little bit. Okay, so now you're going to come up and make it a selection by hitting Make Selection right here, and you can hit OK, and you're going to come to Select Inverse and then hit Delete, and it's going to delete the entire background. Now, if you see all these kind of things going on here with the light, I don't really like that. Come up into your lasso tool, you're going to click and make a selection over here, going to Edit, Fill, and use Content Aware. Make sure it's on Content Aware and hit OK. It's going to pull elements around to kind of fill that in. Let's do that again over here. Let's make a selection around here. And we're going to do an effect on this bottle later where this really doesn't matter, but just to kind of show you so you learn. Content Aware again. It's going to kind of fill everything. Makes this little monster thing over here. You can refine this a little bit by going into your clone stamp tool and hitting, holding Option down and selecting an area and then clicking. So Option, selecting an area, clicking. You can even change the opacity of this to make things kind of blend more. But like I said, you're not going to really even notice what's going on when we do an effect on this later. And you're going to save this as something on your desktop as a PSD file. So name it, you know, beer bottle, let's see, beer bottle 2. Name it. Hit OK. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new document. We're going to create a document. We're going to change this to inches. We're going to make sure it's 300 resolution. And we're going to make sure it's 7.5 wide by 2.375 in height, which is going to be the document for the label. And we're going to hit OK. And we're now going to go to New again. And we're going to make a 4x4 document, 4 inches by 4 inches, 300 resolution, and hit OK. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our picture of the bricks and we're going to just drag it into each document and just scale this up. Hold Shift while you're doing it. And then hit OK. And we're going to now come up into Select, Layer, Smart Object, Rasterize. And we're going to turn off that background layer or actually even throw it out by double clicking it, hitting OK, creating a layer, and then throwing it out because we really don't need it. We're going to come back in here. This is for our label. We're going to pull that in. To scale that, you can hold Shift if you want to. You don't have to. Let's see. We're going to hit OK. We're going to, again, go to Layer, Smart Objects, Rasterize, and again, we're going to throw out our background layer. Just get it out of here. Also, you got to go to Mode on each of these and make sure they're at CMYK. This one is. Oh, okay, they're all at CMYK. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to File, Save As. We're going to call this Label Background and go into Desktop with that or whatever folder you're saving in. And I'm going to call this Coaster Background. Make sure these are PSD files because when you update them later, they're going to update in your other file. Now let's jump back into Adobe Illustrator. And we're going to first go make, I'm going to copy all this. I'm going to put this in my new document. Here we go. We're going to go to File, New, and we're going to make 2 artboards. We're going to do it a 4x4 because we're going to change the other one later anyway. Don't do a bleed on it. We can always add that later. The guides kind of get in the way. And we're going to hit OK. And I'm now going to paste my finals on top of where I want them so I can kind of reference. You know what I'm saying? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Document Setup and hit Edit Artboards. And I'm going to take this artboard on the right, click it, I'm going to move it over. I'm going to make it 7.5 inches wide. It's my label width. I'm going to make it 2.375 in height. I'm going to click off. And I'm going to move my label that I designed basically right on top of it so you can see it. I'm now going to these swatches. I'm going to just add them. I'm going to use them throughout my document. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create some guides so you know where to place things. I'm going to create a rectangle and make these are Steve Looney's quick guides. This is how I do it. I make a rectangle. I'm going to turn my rulers by Command R, and I'm going to click here and pull a ruler to that center point. That means I'm directly in the center of my document. And it's going to create a guide. The next thing I'm going to do is also called the Steve Looney special, is we're going to click this box right here. We're going to hit Option, and it's going to shrink the box down proportionately. Now, I'm going to let go, and I want this to be, and I'm kind of just eyeing this up in my document above, all right, somewhere around there. And I'm going to pull out a guide to the left and to the right. Now, basically what I did was I basically told it that this is where the bottle is going to start to round, and I'm going to start to lose my logo. So I want to make sure my logo is built within that bottle. It can go over the outside edge a little bit, but I want to make sure I don't lose my letters when I'm looking directly at the bottle. What you want to do next is you want to make a rectangle, and we're going to make this rectangle yay high. Kind of eye this up for now. And this took me a while to build this project, so I'm trying to, not refine this and make this a 3-hour video. I'm sorry, come up to the ellipse tool and make a circle. And we're going to hold shift while you do that. So the circle, you don't want to go over the top. And now we're going to turn off our guides because they're in my way. And by going to Command, semicolon. And we're going to click both of these, go into our Pathfinder, and the top left, it says Unite. And it unites them. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit A on our keyboard, and so it changes to our direct selection. We're going to take this point and hold shift and take that point, and we're just going to hit the down arrow. All right, so I get it to where I think I want it. Let's back up a little bit. Let's see, let's overlay that. Nope, not enough. All right, down a little bit more. Gotta reselect these. Okay, cool. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to, while we have this selected, Object, Path, Offset Path. Make sure you have Preview on and do minus 0.06 inches and hit OK. And basically what that did was it made a copy right on top of itself, but it shrunk it proportionally. So if I fill this in with red, you see exactly what happened here? It basically just shrunk it down just a little bit. Now I'm going to back up, not have that red. And I'm going to make the gradient an orange or like a gold type of a color. And I'm going to make it 2 points on a stroke. The next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to go to File, Place. I'm going to find that image of the background that I did with the bricks. Label background. And go to Place. And I'm going to put it, basically, I'm going to put it actually, you know what, below this so you can see what I'm about to do. I'm going to learn right now how to lock and unlock elements. You basically want to lock this top element. You want to do that by going to Command 2. And now I'm going to take the element that's behind it. Remember the original? And I'm going to go Option, click, Shift, and I'm basically copying it down. And I'm holding Shift so I can proportionally move it over this picture. And I have to take this picture and send it to the back. Arrange, send to back. Because you can't make a clipping mask of something if it's in front of the object it's going to go into. So we're now going to select both of these and go to right-click, make clipping mask. And basically, it's hiding that image within it. It's clipping it in the mask. You want to now move this up behind everything because it is behind everything already. And, excuse me, it's not. You want to go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And now we're going to go to Object, Unlock All, which I did actually on the keyboard command, just Shift Command 2. So I can move 1, 2, and 3. So let me back up. Basically, what I want to do here is I want to make sure this first thing is screen. So we're going to go into Transparency Screen. And I'm going to go to Object, Lock, Selection, Command 2 again. And now I'm taking the element that was originally behind it, and I'm going to turn that to a multiply. All of a sudden, everything's going to appear through. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Object, Unlock All, and I'm going to create a banner that goes across here by just simply making a rectangle that goes from this corner point to this corner point. And has a little bit of height to it, nothing crazy. And I'm going to make a gradient of orange to, this is a pre-made gradient I have, of orange to yellow, to gold, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to put a stroke on here of gold. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to come into your brushes, and you want to go hit the drop down, open brush library, artistic brushes, and then select artistic charcoal, charcoal, or pencil. And this is going to come up here, all these. Basically, you want to start playing around and see what you can come up with. Now, let's find something a little bit simple. There we go, like so. And we're now going to do something really fun. You're going to take the entire logo. Let's get this logo out of here. Move it to the side. Now, this image, I would highly suggest you learn how to build this logo. And you can do it by looking at the other episode, the Logo Design Bootcamp. This picture right here, I actually took from my iPhone. If I take the clipping mask off, you can see I was actually in a square and there were people walking around, and I took this image into Illustrator. I did an image trace on it, and then I got this effect. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just make a little bit of fun stuff going on this band. I'm going to enlarge this image. I'm going to actually send it to the front. I use a keyboard command shortcut, which if you go into Object, Arrange, you can bring it to the front. There it is right there. I'm going to make a rectangle. That is the height of this bar. Kind of move it around here. And let's see, I'm going to move this up a little bit more. And I'm going to select the rectangle and then hit Shift and select the background image, right click and make a clipping mask. And I'm going to go to Option, click Shift. I'm going to copy it over. And I'm just going to select both of these that I put over here. And I'm just going to go to Transparency and turn it to Overlay. And you're going to see it has a nice shiny type of gold effect. And I'm now going to take barrelers, take the logo, so I take it up from up here. I'm going to put it right over here. I'm going to have to Object, Arrange, Send, bring to front. And now there is my barrelers logo. Okay. If you see what's happening, you see on accident I'm starting to move things. This is where you want to just highlight all this stuff and hit Command 2 so you don't move it on accident. I'm also going to take this element, so 1, 2, and then that bar. I'm going to go to Command G to group it. I'm going to just scale it up a little bit because it's too fat. Okay. Going now Command 2 and lock that. So basically, I can't select any of this stuff yet. Only stuff I can select is really right here. All right. Cool. I'm going to turn my guides back on to see where barrelers, the B and the S are falling. They're falling pretty much where I want them to fall, which is cool. I want that point to go straight through the middle, the point of that tower, basically. And this is really cool. You could take this, and I made this in the Logo Design Bootcamp tutorial, but you can click on this right here, and it's a brush stroke. So you can take a brush, and you can literally click over here are the buildings, click, and let go where you want it to be. And then you can augment this using the direct selection with the points. So you can, do some funky things with this if you really want. It's pretty fun. Last thing I'm going to do is put that moon back in there. Send it to the front. And all right, we're rolling. The next cool thing I'm going to show you is I'm going to lock everything again, Command 2. I'm going to select this piece right here, and I'm going to come up to Object, Envelope, Distort, Make with Mesh. And let's make it, let's see, 4, make it 5, no, make it 4 and 4. Now hit OK. And you're going to take your direct selection, and you're going to take this, and you're going to select all these points by hovering over these points only. And we're going to, while holding Shift, hold that up a little bit. That's too much. You can see how cool this is going to be already. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. All right, so I get that cool effect on it. Now, I'm trying to, honestly, I can figure out what I did with this background by looking at my version up here. There's a lot of time involved in this. Let's delete this bar. Try to figure out what I did right here real quick. What you can do is you can pick apart the one that I have done and see how basically it was messing around with gradients and actually taking certain colors on the gradient bar and actually making them opaque so you can actually see through, which was what was behind it, which is pretty cool. So that's how you do the label. Now this label would be a die cut label where I don't believe you would need to actually have to add a bleed on that. If you did, it's going to be very simple. You're just going to take your direct selection and you're going to pull it past that a little bit. You're just eyeing this stuff all up at this point. you want to now do the same thing with these. As long as they know the exact shape, they would be able to cut within that and get the shape that you actually want. Oh, don't forget the bottom either. Okay, so that would technically be the label. Now, what we're going to do here with the beer coaster is we're going to go to File, Place, and we're going to go to Coaster Background. Let's do Coaster Background. That sounds pretty legit. Okay, and what we're going to do now is we're going to come into here and we're going to make a rounded rectangle. And you're going to click, and you're going to make sure your corner radius is 0.25 and hit cancel. And we're just going to click, and you can start moving this around with while you're holding shift and you're trying to expand. You can move it around by holding the space bar down. Very important tool. Always keep your hand on the keyboard, your left hand, just like that. And basically, this is going to be the outline. So I technically, right now, I could, I'm going to actually copy, Command C. I'm going to select both of these, right click, and do Make Clipping Mask. And the reason I copied that before is I'm going to repaste it on top. Let's go to View and hide our artboards so we can get those corners out of the way. We're going to go to Command F as in paste in front. Why is that doing that? Let's see. All right, you know what? Let's just come back here and make another rounded rectangle. We're going to keep it within here. And we're going to put a stroke on it of, let's say we do that gold color. And we're going to make a stroke of, I guess, 2 points. We can always come back into this later. And I believe what I did on here was I made it an overlay. Transparencies are awesome. There we go. There's a nice overlay right there. And what I did next was I am going to jump back into Photoshop. Actually, no, I'm not going to jump back into Photoshop. Let's jump back into Illustrator. And we're going to go to File, Place. We're going to get that beer bottle that we did. And we're going to now hit Place. And right now I have this ugly looking beer bottle. It's not really doing much. I'm going to scale it down just a little bit. And actually, I stretched this out. I made it a little fatter. So hold Option, click that, and stretch it just a little bit. I'm not a fan of stretching things, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. All right, cool. What we're going to do next is we're going to kind of just lay this over here and hit E on your keyboard to transform it and kind of move it how you want to move it. And we're going to scale this up a little bit. It's okay if half of the bottle basically... you know what? I'm sorry. We got to back up. We got to make sure this is straight up, and we got to put that label on first. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to come into your label. I'm going to grab the label that I did, and we're going to select this entire piece, go to Command G, and group it. We're going to move it over here. We're now going to take one of these corner points, and while holding Shift and Option, it's going to scale it down proportionally. We're going to put it on top of the beer bottle, go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, we're now going to zoom in. I'm going to make this wider so the B and the S are near the edge, not going over. Move this down a little bit so it's a little bit more realistic. And now we're going to come to our rectangle tool, and we're going to make a box, basically right over here where we think the edges of this bottle is. And we're going to take our regular arrow, hold Shift, click this, right click, and make a clipping mask. And oops, I forgot something up here. I screwed up. So without going backwards, you can hit A on your keyboard and select this area right here. The line is hidden. And here we go. Just hold Shift while you move this up and make it appear. All right. Now, we're going to, because these are not grouped yet, we're going to select both of these and go to Command G and group them. And we're going to now turn the bottle. We're going to scale it up just a little bit. And we're going to turn the bottle just a little bit. Get a nice little angle going on there. Let's see. I'm going to kind of eye it up to my old bottle. So let's make it a little bit larger. Cool. Now I'm going to put the bottle right here. And basically, that's the the edge that you drink out of is kind of touching. This is kind of almost getting lost. What you want to do now is you want to come up into here, into your rectangle, and you want to make another rectangle. We're going to make another clipping mask and hide the rest of this. So we're now, after we make that box, while it's still selected up there, go to Shift, click the bottle, right click, and make a clipping mask. And now it's going to hide that bottle. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come into Photoshop. So I was prepared to do a few minutes ago. And we're going to take this beer bottle and we're going to go to Filter. Let's see. All right. We gotta make this RGB for a second to do this. Yep. Go back to Image Mode RGB and go to Filter, Filter Gallery. That's going to come up with a bunch of cool options that you can choose. And let's see, the one that I decided to choose was Cutout. I'm just going to leave the regular settings and hit OK. And now I'm just going to hit Save. I'm going to go back into Illustrator and it's going to ask me, it's not going to ask me to update. Why not? Bottle 2. Let's see, this is bottle 2. All right, let's go to linked file. Let's update link. All right, that didn't do it. We're going to relink this with beer bottle 2. What the heck happened here? This is beer bottle 2. Let's say this is something else for a second. I don't know why it's giving me a problem. Let's say it as beer bottle 3. Put it right on the desktop. To linked file, relink that with beer bottle 3. There we go. All right, cool. All right, so I'm not really that satisfied yet, but I'm going to come back into this later and make these little glows on the background. The next thing we're going to do is you're going to take that image, ungroup all this stuff over here. You're going to take the image of this little bar that you made before with the brush stroke on it, and you're going to scale it down a little bit, even stretch it if you have to, and we're going to move it. Right here. To move it right behind the bottle. We're going to Object, Arrange, bring that to the front. All right, cool. And now we're going to take this bottle and we're going to go to Object, Arrange, bring to front to bring it back over to where it's supposed to be. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to just like we did on the actual label, let me see this, because these bricks are way too dark right now. We're going to make a box. Excuse me, we're going to make a rounded rectangle. Actually, you know what? Let's take this entire piece right now, right click, and go to Release Clipping Masks. I got to see this background for a second. We're going to make a rectangle over this background, and we're going to fill it with our gradient from earlier. I'm going to make sure that's what it looks like normal. So the first time, remember, we're going to go to Multiply, and we're going to take this piece right here, and we're going to go to Commands, Object, Command C, Command F, paste in front. And the second one, I'm going to make it an overlay. Okay. All right, you know what? Let's back up a second. That didn't really look too nice. The first one that I have on top of it, it's a multiply. Maybe make that transparency like 70%. And I'm just going to take all this stuff. I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Back, Send to Back. That's going to pop everything out in front again. A little bit of a different effect. I can change this up a little bit by making this, yeah, there we go. I can make it more opaque like that. You're going to now take your Barrelers Beer logo, and you're just going to basically pull it into this document and move it into this space right here. And you're going to, this is definitely in front right now. Same thing with this. You can recreate these brush strokes like I did earlier. Put one back here. This one's actually a little bit transparent. Now the reason, let's fix this. I want to fine tune this real quick. All right. Let's let's bring that back up to 100% normal. Oh, damn, that's actually pretty cool too. Let's take this, and this piece that I put on top of here about a minute ago is, you're going to bring that back to normal. You don't want that to be a multiply in this instance. And you want to just make that like maybe 80%. Let's go to 70% transparency. Let's go back to 80. And we're going to now come into our type tool and just type in www.barrelers.com. Hit escape when you're done with that, and then choose whatever font you like for this. All right. If you see, I have the caps lock on, which basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to type, change case, and go to all lowercase. And I'm going to make sure, switch the fill right there. There we go. I'm now going to pull a guide right here because I want to make sure all my elements are lining up. Even that leaf right there, and I'll turn my guides on. And I'm going to make sure this .com ends right there so it meets up with the R, the S, and the edge of this little leaf right here. And I'm now going to go to Option, click, and I'm going to shift this up right here. And I'm just going to type in important bullet number 1, and hit escape. I change that to Times New Roman, bold italic. Turn that to black so it pops like that. All right. And number 1, I'm going to have it go kind of down the bottom like this. So go to Option, Shift, click, Option, Shift, click, and I'm going to change that to 2, and now 3. Now what you want to do is you want to go 1, hold Shift down while you click all 3 of these. You want to come into here and do vertically distribute through the center point, and you want to now horizontally distribute through the center point. So everything is perfectly nice. I'll move this up just a little bit. Let's see, am I missing anything? Oh yes, I am missing a lot. You can put the established date. We'll copy that back over here. The last thing I want to do is I want to jump into this bottle, go back into Photoshop, and we're going to come into here, and we're going to make sure our foreground color is a gold, or actually let's make this a little bit more of a yellow. Pull that up a little bit. Yellowish gold. We're going to double click. We're going to go to outer glow, and we're going to select the second one in, which should be that color. And we're going to make it the spread just a little bit. Make the size, give a little bit of size to it. And we're going to now go to drop shadow. We're going to make sure the shadow is about 180, somewhere around there. We're going to make the distance and the spread just a little bit heavier. Let's see. And the size. And then hit OK, and then hit save. And you're going to jump back into Illustrator, and it's going to ask you if you want to update. Hit yes. And you're going to notice now this has popped off the page. Now, yes, this looks a little fake right here. You want to refine that. That's what refining is. You're going to spend a lot of time doing that. But now this file would be suitable to send to a printer because it is going over our actual, let's see, our document. If we go back to View, Show Artboards, let's see, where's our artboard at? Okay, basically what you would need to do now is you would need to select everything that's in the background, and you would just need to scale up just a little bit by holding Shift and Option. And basically your document artboard is probably about this right here. It is this because it's snapping to it. I feel it. All right, let's see. Turn that color. Everything outside of here is going to get cut off. That's what the bleed is. So this is basically how you want to save it. And the last thing I'm going to show you is how to save it. So I'm just going to delete, and delete this. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm just going to save the coaster for now. We're going to save this as coaster, and we're going to make the format a PDF, and it's going to say, it's going to ask us about using artboards. So I want to use the first one, so I'm going to make the range 1, and I'm going to hit save. And for this tutorial's sake, I'm just do a high quality print. I'm going to uncheck preserve Illustrator editing capabilities so it gets a smaller file. Come into marks and bleeds, hit trim marks, and then hit the bleed straight up like that. So you do 0.125 on all four, which is an eighth, and hit save. And let's check out this PDF. There's a PDF with our crop marks, our bleed going off. The only thing I would have done, I would have extended this just a little bit more, and I would have extended the bottle just a little bit more. Now, I'm not going to resave a PDF, but I'll just show you as my last thing what we're going to do in here is we're going to take the direct selection, click here, we're going to open that up a little bit more so the bottle bleeds, and we're going to now take our regular arrow, and we're just going to scale this over, which is locked. So go to Object. It's not locked. Let's see, what is it? There it is right there. I'm just going to squeeze that over. All right, cool. So I did rush through this a little bit just so you understand. There's going to be an extra hour or two refining this. There really is, because you're going to go through different ideas and you know, experimentation. It's all about experimentation. I mean, my artboard looks like a freaking bomb went off. Let me just show you something real quick. Back up. This is my original artboard, and I had a bunch of different versions in here. Let's see. I had a couple of, actually, those are my final versions. I did a version like this. I did this version, that version. You know, there's a lot of time involved in this stuff. And so that is how you do the label and the coaster. So let me wrap up. All right, so thanks for joining us for episode number 2 of Layout Design Bootcamp. Let me know your comments and questions if you have any below. Definitely like this video and share it out in your social networks. Very important. If it helped you, it's definitely going to help somebody else. Now, at the end of episode 1, I put out a challenge, and I'm going to do that on each video. But basically, take the elements that I have provided to you and whatever knowledge you have and create some other type of medium that you're going to design for this same brand. So you can design a new label, you can design a package, whatever. Tag it to my Facebook or send it to me in an email, and I will put it up for all to see so everybody knows that there are many different ways to get ideas and do certain things. So because we're all different, we all have different ways, styles, and ideas. So that's it, everybody. Hit the subscribe button above. Again, let me know your thoughts. Share this thing out there, and I'll see you next week for episode number 3 of Layout Design Bootcamp. Peace.